Welcome to part 3 of Google Keyword Research with Google's Keyword Planner. My name is Mike Wood. I am your presenter, your mentor here, and we're going to move on to the next steps. Now, if you haven't watched part 1, setting up your account, setting up a free account, go watch that first. That is the introduction to Google Keyword Planner, setting up a free account. So watch that one if you haven't already watched it, so that you know how to set up your account. And then watch the part 2 of Google Keyword Research, so that you have the introduction of how to set this all up, do the formula and everything in here, and do the all-in-title. Now we're moving on to why we're doing this. We're going to discuss what we're doing with this list after we do the research on it, and how we're going to implement that data into our website. I'm using an example here of Twisted Wood Art website for this for these webinars, but I want to show you another example just so you're aware that it doesn't matter what your niche is. It doesn't matter if you're not doing Twisted Wood Art. If you're doing bird baths, then we can come into our keyword tool here, and this is our list that came up. So I can actually type in here just like I can if I were to go into the tools up at the top and go to Keyword Planner and start there. Same thing. Here I'm already on the results page, so I could type in bird bath, solar bird bath, and every time I paste or type a comma and a space, it separates those. And I could click Get Results on that and get a list of results. So it doesn't matter what your keywords are or what your niche is. The details I'm sharing with you are all the same. You're going to delete the same columns that you don't need, like explained in part 2. You're going to put in the all-in-title or the concatenate formula. You're going to do the all-in-title search. It's all the same. You're just going to do it on the keywords that relate to your niche. Okay? So we would download that list as a CSV and get the list of keywords related to bird baths and solar bird baths. Now, as you're going through your work here, we'll save that. As you're going through this this work, keep in mind that you might come back and do this later on. There might be a point where you have a product that doesn't really have a relevant keyword in your list. So let's say we have walking sticks. Maybe we want to sell twisted walking sticks on our Twisted Wood Art page. So we come into this list and we search. So to search the list, I can press Control or Command, depending on whether you're on an Apple or a Windows computer. Windows is Control, Apple is Command, and then F, like Find. Okay, and that will find in the page that you're working on. So if I want to look for walking stick on here, I can type in the word walking. Oh, I don't have walking stick in this list of keywords, right? There's 0 results showing 0 of 0. There's no walking stick option here. And so I could try cane, nothing there. I could try stick, there might be something there, but it's probably not relevant, right? I've got wood stick art. And every time I press enter now here, it's going to take me to the next instance. Sticks wood art, wall stickers wood, wooden stick wall hanging. So these aren't really what I'm looking for. I want a walking stick. So if I go through my whole list and I don't have that, then guess what? I'm going to go back to the keyword tool, the keyword planner, and I'm going to do a new search for twisted walking stick or twisted wood cane or wood walking stick or something like that, so that I have, and I'm going to put all of those phrases in there so that I have a new list. And then I'm going to start all over. I'm going to do the concatenate that I showed you in the previous webinar and put that formula in there, and I'm going to have a whole new list. And so you might go back as you're building out your site and optimizing your website, you might come back to this keyword planner multiple times. All right, so why do we do this? What is the importance of it? Well, there are two things I want you to understand here. Number one, we need to have an understanding of the keyword, maybe three things here. We need to have an understanding of the types of keyword phrases that our marketplace, our audience, our potential customers are typing in when they want to find what we have to offer. We want to know what keywords they're using. So that's part of it, is to get to know our audience a little bit better. Why do we want to know that? Well, partially because that helps us know more about the products that are out there that might be available, the things people are looking for, the way they type it in, what they're thinking. This helps us to see how people think a little bit. We can start seeing those keywords that they're putting in there. It also helps us to find the keywords that they are using so that we can then create content that is relevant to those keywords. So if I go down this list and I find out that, let's look for how many times we have the word twisted, for example. So twisted, we've got, oh, that's interesting. We only have the one twisted wood art. So I might go back and say, you know, I think there's more to this twisted wood. So I might go back in here and do a new search now and try to get more twisted wood art phrases. So I could put in twisted wood art, twisted wooden art, whoops, spell it right, twisted wood sculpture, twisted wood carving. So I'm going to put more keyword phrases and get results and find out, are there other things out there that people are actually searching with twisted wood? Okay, and it shows me here, notice it's, instead of hundreds, it says 4 keyword ideas available. So yeah, there are some small amount of searches for some of these other phrases, but it's not a huge amount. Okay, so twisted wood sculpture, yes. Twisted wood carving, yes. Somewhere between 10 to 100. So again, low search volume, but it's there. There is demand for it. People might be looking for these things in another way. They might want the twisted wood. They might like the twisted wood stuff, but maybe they're just looking for the wood art or the wooden art or the wood sculpture, right? And so we're going to use those phrases. All right, so we've got our list there. We understand now how people are searching. We realize, yeah, they might really like the twisted wood art, but they're not using that phrase a whole lot. They're using wood sculpture, wood wall art, wood wall decor, palette art. They're using these other phrases, and so we've got to start implementing those into our site so that we can be recognized. So let's go back over here and let's do just a general search for twisted wood art. And here's another example for you to look at to come up with keyword ideas to put into the keyword planner. When you start typing up here, Google gives you suggestions. Twisted tree wood art, twisted wood wall art. And so we can take those phrases and put them into the Google keyword planner and see what, how much volume there is, okay? Also, if you scroll to the bottom of your Google keyword screen or your Google search results screen, we have other phrases here. Now, DIY probably isn't something we want unless we're going to offer them DIY might be good. Reclaimed wood wall art DIY. Well, we might show them, hey, here's a way you can create wall art with reclaimed wood, and we might sell a kit, right? We have a blog post with that as our title, and then we sell a kit with some of the pieces, and they can do whatever they want with it, right? Twisted wood wall art with sayings. Reclaimed wood wall art Pinterest, Amazon reclaimed wood wall art mountains, handmade, geometric wood wall art. So these are all keyword phrases that might relate to our products. We might want to put products in there related to them. These are suggested phrases, which means somebody has probably typed them in. And so all of these could go on our list. We could type them into Google Keyword Planner and put them in there. So keep that in mind too. Every time you do a search, you've got suggestions there at the top, up here, as you're typing it in, and at the bottom. Okay? All right, so this helps us to understand our audience. Why is this Etsy page coming up at the top of Google? Okay, so that's the next thing we're going to do, is understand how do we get to that point where we are coming up there. Well, part of it is they're using the keyword in their meta title. But that's not all. If you click on that link, we'll see that the page content itself has those keywords in there. So see, we've got the wood art phrases, the reclaimed wall art. We have those keyword phrases throughout the content of the page as well. Now, Etsy's kind of like, eBay. It's an everybody can come in and sell type of page, so it may not be the best option. Wayfair is a little bit better. Wayfair and Amazon are big sites that have been around for a long time. If we scroll down, we might see some others that are not quite as well known. Visual Hunt, allmodern.com, architectureartdesigns.com. So now, we get into some that are a little, a little less known, right? So our site's going to be even newer, even less known, but we can get up and in the top here. So we can see this is kind of a blog post here. So they're saying 16 magnificent examples of reclaimed wood wall art, which was the key phrase we searched here. And so they're coming up because they're using that in their meta title. It's also in their URL up here. Their URL uses the keyword. And it's in the title of the page. This is our header title right here, our H1 tag in the top of the page there. Whoops. Move this back up. And then they're using it down within the content of the page as well. If we were to do a search on this page, again, the Command F or the Control F, and search for reclaimed, we're going to see that word, that keyword, showing up throughout the content of the page. And so that's what makes this relevant. That's what tells Google, hey, this page is related to this phrase, because that phrase is sprinkled throughout the page. That's what you are going to do with your website. Now, we have other webinars that talk about how to optimize your site. So I'm not going to get into those details in this webinar. I'm just helping you to understand that's where we're going with this. That's why we do this research, okay? Now, what I do want to show you here is how to sort your list. So if we come in here and say, okay, let's sort this, and you might do this at the beginning actually, as we're starting to go through and do the all-entitled research. Well, we could come up here and say, all right, let's sort by minimum or maximum. Doesn't matter. It's going to be pretty much the same. Minimum search results. So we highlight that first cell, B1, okay? And then we go up here to data, and we sort this. A to Z is going to do smallest to largest. Z to A is going to do largest to smallest. So we're going to sort this. We want our highest number of demand at the top. And so then we go in and we do our research on this. We do everything, all the all in title searching for every phrase that is relevant, delete those that aren't, right? But anything that might be relevant to us. So 325,000 on that one. Incredible number of competitors there. So we put that in here. I'm going to just do a few of these so that you can see the importance of what I'm showing here. So we run our searches, get our numbers, 93,400. And after you've done this on hundreds of your searches, then we're going to resort the list. Ooh, look at that, 387 results. Did I put it in right? Yeah, I put it in right, 387. 387. Wooden wall accents. That is an excellent phrase to target. Why? Because it has over 10,000 searches a month, but only 387 competing pages today. Now tomorrow it'll probably have 400 and some, or 500, or 1,000. It's going to change, but the sooner we get into that, the better. Huge, huge demand. That's a good phrase for us to target. All right, so after we do all of this and we have we've run the all in title search. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I want this webinar to be fairly quick, but I want to get some numbers here. So 505,000. And we'll do one more here. 220,000. All right, so now we've got this sorted with the highest demand first. Now we're going to go over here and click on all in title, and we're going to go to data, and we're going to sort smallest, A to Z. So sort sheet by column G, A to Z. So now we're going to have our lowest competition numbers thrown up at the top of our sheet. And so we look at this and we say, okay, this has the lowest competition, but it only has between 10 to 100 searches a month. This one doesn't have much competition at all. It's under 1,000. That's phenomenal. I mean, honestly, if you're anywhere under, and don't get stuck on the numbers as I throw these numbers out there, but if you're less than 10,000, that's something that you can compete with. It's not going to be hard to compete with 10,000 competitors. So 10 to 20,000 range and below is pretty good. Okay, so that's why I say don't get stuck on the number. If I were to say below 10,000 all in title and you have one that's 11,000, if you stick that 10,000 number in your brain, then you're going to say, oh, 11,000, that's too much, I'm not going to do it, right? It's all relative. It's all relative. It depends on the list. You might have a list of keywords where you don't have any all in title below 10,000. That doesn't mean you have a bad niche. It does mean you have a little more competition than this one that we're showing as an example, but you can still work with that. You just work with the lowest that you have within your niche, and you go to work at it. So this sorts our list that way. Now, here's an interesting thing that Google does with this sorting. You'll notice that here it resorted, and we've got 10 to 100. We got 10,000 to 100,000, 1,000 to 10,000 here, but we've got it sorted by all in title. But as we scroll down below that, those that don't have the all in title, they're still sorted with the format that we had before, the previous sort, which is highest on the minimum search results. And so that's nice to have that. So you can sort this all in title periodically, and the rest of these are still going to stay with the highest sorting on this because that was done previously. Hope that makes sense. All right, so I don't see any questions here. Hopefully that helps you to understand what we're doing, why we're doing it. So again, to reiterate, we do the research, the all in title. We're looking for phrases that are relevant to the products that we have to offer. And the reason is we're going to take each of these phrases and go into our website, and every single page, every product, every category page, our home page, every page on our site other than the administrative pages, the About Us, the Contact Us, those we don't worry about those so much. We're not going to worry about optimizing those. But product-related pages, we're going to optimize every one of those pages, And optimizing means we take a keyword phrase, our primary keyword phrase for the page, and we say, okay, this page is all about wooden wall accents. Okay? And so we're going to sprinkle that keyword, not too much. We don't want to spam. We don't want a keyword spam. So we don't want it in there so much that it looks unnatural, because then Google's going to penalize us because we're obviously trying to manipulate their system, right? And they don't want that. They don't like that. So we don't want to have too much there, but we want to have the keyword phrase in the meta title, in the URL, in our header tag, and in our content. We want to have it there enough that it's obvious this is what the page is about. That's why we do this research. And that tells Google, here's what the page is about. This is what our content is for this page. So that way Google can then take that into consideration when they decide what they're going to show to their searchers. Now, there are other things that come into marketing and optimizing. There are off-page things and factors where we get links pointing back to our page that are relevant as well. So there's more that goes into it, but that's the start of it. Okay. All right. Got a question here. What does wooden garden accents look like? Oh, you're asking me to run that search? Well, let's see if we even have that in here. If we search for the wood garden, we don't have that. So that's one for you to do, Rose. That's one that I'm going to let you take off of our webinar here and go search on the Google Keyword Planner and find out how many people are searching for that phrase. Okay. All right, so this ends part 3 of our keyword research. Hopefully that helps you to understand how to sort your list so that we can then take it and decide which phrases we want to target first and which ones we want to use first. Once again, to clarify, we want lower competition, but we still want a decent number of demand. You're not always going to have a ratio like this where we have extreme demand and really low competition. That's very seldom is that going to happen. Usually it's going to be something more like this where we have a good amount of demand, but a pretty high amount of competition as well. But as you complete this list, that's why we do this research on hundreds of items. Now, one more thing I'll throw out here. I would recommend doing this first on those that are 100 minimum searches per month, because 10 searches a month, I mean, if there's 90, that's a little better, but preferably we want closer to 1,000 or more searches per month. So between 100 to 1,000, so you're going to do all those first. So in this list for Rose, she's got 331, because we got a header row, 331 phrases to go through. So do those first before you ever worry about these. Now you might find down here that there's a phrase that is very, very relevant to our product, like this right here, large wooden heart wall decoration. That is a buyer motivated phrase. That is a very specific phrase, and if you have a product that meets that phrase, we want to use that phrase. Even though there's only somewhere between 10 to 100 searches a month on it, we want to use that phrase, okay? But only for real valuable, real specific phrases are we going to do this if there are only 10 to 100 searches. Otherwise, we're going to focus on these first. That gives us 300 plus phrases. That's 300 pages on our site. That's plenty to target to have some good content. Okay. So thank you for joining the webinar. You can move on now to doing the optimization webinars to learn how to implement these keywords into your content and creating the content.